What's up, guys, and welcome to the Creating 2019 Summit of Nonstop Magic. We are interviewing over 22 speakers on what it takes to create an epic year. My name is Michelle Giovanni, for those of you that do not know me, and I'm really excited about this interview. This woman has become so dear to me, to my life. She's just pure love and such a master at what she does. What's up, Jessica? What's up, Jessie? She is a pure light, and there's some friendships that come into your life that really add, and Angelisa is one of them. I call her the love activator, the love guru, because she is truly gifted at what she does. And anyone that comes my way requesting, how to find their man, I send them to her. So I'm excited to jump on her on such a juicy topic, cultivating the presence, so that we attract and awaken from within the love and the intimacy in our lives. So let's dive in. And I think I see her. Let me add you. So excited to jam. It's always fun when I bring Angelisa on live. So this.
Hi, Mama. ¿Qué pasó?
Do you have headsets?
Do I have headsets? I can get them. Yes. It's better for you. Perfect. Damn it! If these work, how are you? I was listening to you before coming on, and I was like, you are dripping in that love energy.
I am.
You really are. I was like, yes, girl. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is my life. Look at this. This is my headphones are a disaster area almost all the time.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's see if this works.
What's up, Jen? Brianna.
You can hear me, my love?
Amazing. Yes, I do.
Perfect.
Rhonda.
Hi, ladies. I see Rhonda. I see Jen. Who we got here? I see Jenny, Brittany, Tanisha. Hi, ladies. Thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you for being present, right? For being present. How are you, beautiful?
So I was just raving about you, how you're one of my favorite peeps, and you truly are one of those people that just adds. And I've been in a conversation entering this new year of only being the space for people that reciprocate. And you are truly one of those that just adds to my life. Every time we're in a jam, we're like, loca.
Every time. You got 10 minutes. It's so funny that you use that word reciprocate, because I don't think about that word often. I think maybe because of the way I was raised, or just kind of like the way my parents are. They're very, like, there's a lot of give and take between them. So then I experienced that growing up, like with the way they were with other people, even strangers, whatever, that I don't think about that word often. I think it's one of those things, like, not that I take it for granted, but that it's something I don't often distinguish, right? And this morning, that word kept playing in my head.
Really?
Because I was thinking, I was thinking this morning. I was in the shower, y'all, because that's where I do all my good thoughts come in the bathroom, apparently. And I was thinking about reciprocity, and because I was thinking about how, if I could, I asked myself this question, like randomly it comes up in my head. If I could change the way people date, like with a snap of my finger, like what would I change? I always think about this, because I have this like behind the back of my head goal that I think actually drives everything I do, which is I want to revolutionize the way we date. That's like literally something. It's been, because I'm so clear. Like, I dated for 9 months. That's all it took for me to find my guy. Why? Because I was like, dating is fucking ridiculous. I was like, this is nuts. Like, this is not like the way we show up.
And we're not taught at all how to date.
At
We're
all.
just
No.
thrown
Oh my
into this
gosh.
world. But wait,
It's
before we dive
insane.
into all the juiciness,
Yes.
I
Yes.
want
Yes. Yes.
people to know who you are, what you do, what you're about.
Oh
Straight
my
from
God.
you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to reciprocity because it was so good. Okay. Thank you, my love. I am Angelisa. This is a red pencil. Angelisa, Angelisa Almanzar. I am the All Heart Coach. I have been in business over 4 years now. I've helped thousands of women over the course of all my programs, live workshops, one-on-one private coaching, find love, really get in touch with who they are, which is what really the journey is about. And not only who you are, but who you get to be and who you want to be. So instead of, I always say like, it's like shifting you from like, I need someone who accepts me as I am to I want someone who supports who I want to become,
Yes.
right? And it's understanding. So I really support women and understand that they're always going to be a masterpiece in progress, accepting who you are now, the good, the bad, the indifferent, right? So like without judgment, not good or bad, but really there's things about you that work and that bring you closer to love and intimacy, and there's things about you that have you retreat from intimacy and pull away from it. So in all of my work, that's really what we do. It's how do we remove those things that pull us away from love, and how do we input and fill the space with the safety, right? The internal safety, because this is all about you. Sorry, y'all, if you if you thought I was gonna fix your man, I'm not. It's all about you, and it's like, how do I interact with the parts of myself that want to keep me separate,
And
so that I
already,
so that I can create a unit with someone else, which is a whole new creation. So
and
it's all about change.
already the testimonials are flying in. Chrissy's like, "Yep, found love, living proof right here."
No, my ladies are awesome. Listen, they come to work because this shit. If you're single, listen, if you're single, send us some hearts. Send us some hearts. If you're single, so I always like to ask because I like to see if you're single, give us a one. If you're in a relationship, give us a two. If you're in a complicated situationship, give us a three, and don't be ashamed. I always say, like on my lives and stuff, like, let's just bear it all out. Let's bear it all out. A lot of our issues in relationships and dating is that we're like trying to put on some facade of like who we think someone wants us to be, when in fact we're all a hot mess, and we're just looking for someone who will just like hold our hot mess and be like, it's gonna be okay. I love you anyway, and make sure that you work on that. Okay, okay, cool, thanks. But yes, my love. So thank you. It's I'm in the love business. I always struggle with how to talk about what I do every time because I'm just like, how do you talk about the thing that I think we're literally here to do? Like we were made for this. Like, if not, God would have put us all alone on our own planet. like, I'd be alone on my own little planet, and you'd be alone on your own little planet. And it's like, no, we came to play and to see each other and to be seen. So, what really drives my work is how can I help you? And I work specifically with women. Men, I am percolating on how to include you in the mix because a lot of men love my work and reach out to me often. So, I'm always in the conversation of how can I support you in being your own discovery, because that's ultimately what makes you so attractive to men, to women, to whoever. It's someone who's not fixed. It's someone who's not like, this is who I am and you gotta accept me and that's it. Like that only ever gets you a stalemate and things stop growing. So it's like coming at love from a spiritual assignment of growth versus just like an egocentric, right? Like instead of an egocentric, just, validate me 24/7 and that's it. And I want to
Right.
thank my fiance for teaching me that. Because he doesn't cave like
Thank
ever.
you, Quay. Thank you, Quay.
He's so good. He's always like, what are
No.
you, what? So I've really learned how to like validate myself, right? Which is such a powerful, when you can validate yourself, love comes to you like this. Like, girl,
So let's
listen,
talk
I've,
about this. Let's talk
whew,
about
so good.
the cultivating that inner presence, because I think the title was so juicy. I was like, yes, that's it. When we were talking about what are we gonna jam about, the inner presence, that stillness is where the magic lies. And a lot of
Absolutely.
people are avoiding being in that stillness, cultivating that inner presence.
Perfect.
So let's talk
When
about
you
that.
think about the avoiding, I mean, that's like the key word. So for all of you that are watching now and all of you that are watching later, that's like the first key is ask yourself, where am I avoiding? Because even me, I'm engaged, getting married in September, love my man, super excited, right? And it's always a roller coaster. It's always like internally, I'm a human being. So there's always the ups and the downs and the roller coaster going on. So where do I avoid and how do I avoid intimacy? And I always say this is literally what I teach is the intimacy has a recipe. Intimacy has a true recipe. And it starts with trust, authenticity, and vulnerability. Any moment in time where trust, authenticity, and vulnerability are present, meaning that you're embodying it, you're being it, and your actions are being those ways of being that I just said being like four times, then intimacy has to follow. There is a formula. When two beings are being those things, I mean, that's when you have fireworks, right? So whether it's love, whether it's friendship, whether it's whatever, any relationship that doesn't have those three ingredients in a given moment will be lacking that connection, that intimacy, which is truly a safety to be seen and a safety to see, right? So a lot of us are so disconnected from ourselves, the good, the bad, the indifferent, that we create all these, I mean, masks, mirages, busyness. Just yesterday, I love that you said that avoiding piece, because just yesterday I said, I think one of the biggest problems in love and in relationships is the busyness.
Mhm.
The busyness. So, how are the ways that you create busyness for yourself to not be? Michelle knows this because Michelle and I are close friends, but last year I spent so much time just in my stillness. I was sad. I mean, I went through feelings I probably haven't felt maybe since I was a child. I went through grief. I went through mourning. I went through sadness. I cried for several weeks. Like, there were so many things going on, but it really taught me like the next level of my presence. Right? Like, I thought I knew how to be present and I was like a love guru and whatever. No, girl, last year it like took me to the next level. And for me, that was relinquishing my busyness around my work, right? Around filling my schedule with clients, around filling my schedule with projects and whatever. It was like being still. So for so many people, the work, drinking, right? Drugs.
Hanging
It can
out,
be yeah, hanging out,
watching
being with
Netflix.
people, watching Netflix, anything that takes you out of being with yourself, your thoughts and your feelings can be a way for you to avoid connection. Now, do all those things always mean you're avoiding? Of course not. Your life is filled with all kinds of things.
But what I
But
want to bring up something really important that I want people to start noticing is that sometimes we create that validation that you were speaking about in the beginning in our work, right? So we will
yes,
bury ourselves in our work because we're receiving that validation, right? And sometimes it's not work, sometimes it's in our relationship. So we will lean into a relationship and fill up our lives with just that one construct. And what ends up happening is that we do start avoiding ourselves by creating that busyness, by being in that over overdoing,
yeah,
over
I call it over functioning.
yeah, over
So,
function. There you go. Yeah.
over functioning. There's so much to do and there's never time for you to be with yourself.
Yes.
I feel like when I was thinking about what takes us away from presence, right? So I have some notes. Of course I have notes. I was like meditating on like what are some presence killers, right? But what are some presence killers? And it's funny, I actually wrote avoiding, like avoiding feeling, which is one of the things we avoid the most, avoiding feeling, and avoiding being. So avoiding what is presently there in the moment, right? So when I finally kind of had this moment last year where I like really cleared the deck, what I had found was that I was extremely sad. I was extremely sad. I had these like really kind of traumatic memories come up for me that I had to work through. But it was so incredible, guys, because like I realized I had pushed those back for 6 years. So why do we avoid? You think about, why do we avoid? Because no one willingly puts themselves in a position to feel pain, right? Like we have constructs in our ego and our psychology that will keep us from feeling pain. But I think what last year really taught me personally, just in my own personal life, which is where all of my work truly comes from because I'm like embodying and living it, is that pain, there's so much possible in your pain. There is so much that can bloom from allowing yourself to process the things you've been running away from. It's not a mistake that on most of my discovery calls with clients where they reach out and they say, oh, I want to find love. I've been single 10 years. I've been single 5 years. Like within 15 minutes of the call, we're usually sobbing. Like there's no mistake that the first month usually that I'm working with someone, they are like, oh my God, Angelisa, I feel like I am mourning. And I'm like,
But even
yeah,
then, but even
it's,
then, they'll go through the fucking discovery call, and then they'll be like, I think I could do this on my own. And they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to face it. So their ego is so
absolutely,
insidious. Their ego is going to say what they need to
absolutely.
say, especially you coaches out there. You will say what you need to say to yourself to avoid the trap of feeling up. And it's not a trap. It's about leaning into yourself fully with the
Absolutely.
proper guidance calling you for. Sorry, I'm
And
very
the
passionate
proper
about
say,
that.
no, I love, no, absolutely. And it's about having a safe space. The reason, listen, y'all, I really, going through the things that, it's so, I'm so passionate about it. So I love that you brought up the things that are keeping you from true intimacy with someone. If, and I'm really talking about people who are actively trying, okay? So here's the thing. There are some people who are actively trying and putting themselves out there that are like meeting a lot of people. Maybe you go for 1 week, maybe you run away the next week, maybe you fall off, or you say you're trying but you're not actually following up. There's people in that camp. Then there's the people who say they want all of that, but don't do anything to
At
put
all.
themselves at all, to put themselves in a
Except keep themselves
position,
really busy with all these
really busy.
after work
Yep.
activities, and I have to do this because this is my schedule. And I'm like, girl, where's the space for a man?
Where there's no space. It's so like, so there's two camps, right? Here's the thing, y'all. So there's two camps. There's those of you that are actively trying and things are not working. And those are great, because here's the thing. If you're actively putting yourself in positions to possibly feel rejected, turned down, whatever, you're a little farther along in the game. And so then when we work together, it's actually things are just like popping off, and I'm just like, shift this, shift this, shift that. Okay, here's where your desperation's coming in. You're turning everyone off. Here's like, right? I can see all those things. So those things come up, but you're in the game. If you are someone in this camp, which is, you want love, that your vision is to have a family, that your vision is to like die old with a cute little old man or old lady rocking in a chair, in a nice little porch, but you have done nothing to put yourself in a position to meet available people, to be a yes to people who ask you out. Let's say you don't feel your best in your body when you step outside, so you're always hiding, you're always covering yourself. You're hiding behind your weight. Hello, right? Hiding behind your weight, your looks, your smarts, your work, whatever. Then there are some major reasons. And if you're going into, my loves, I'm going to keep it real with you. If you're going into now your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and you are still hiding, and you're still hiding from love, think about how crazy that sounds. You are hiding from love. You're hiding from someone who is looking for you, someone who you are their answered prayer, someone who's like, yes, you're the one I want to do this journey with, this life with. If you're going into those years and you are still hiding from love, there is deep pain and wounds that must be addressed, this year. Something that's been super heavy on my heart is, I'm going to really, and then actually, if any of you know someone that would be amazing, please connect them with me. I'm looking for a trauma specialist to bring onto my team, because a lot of my clients have incredible traumas, of course, that are keeping you from like actually opening your heart to someone else. So you say X, but then you do Y over and over and over again. Now, everyone has it in various degrees, right? People have it in various degrees. But you think about love, when we come out into the world and we're born and we're a tiny little baby and we're defenseless and helpless. Love is literally what keeps us alive. It's what keeps us alive. It's what keeps our mother feeding us, taking care of us, hopefully, right? If we're blessed and lucky. It's what keeps our father protecting us and whatever. And, it's what keeps the family together or not together sometimes. But this stays inside of us. I always say, Michelle's heard me say it, we're just children in adult meat suits running around. Like, we're children in adult meat suits running around. We're still looking for someone to hold us, coddle us, tell us that the world is going to be okay, that we know it's not safe out there, but you're safe with me. So if you are actively avoiding love, but consciously you know you want it, then this would be your year. My invitation is this is your year to see where you are avoiding it. Where's the pain you're trying to avoid? Where are the beliefs and the truths or the things you've been holding as true that are keeping you from playing the game? There's people that are playing the game, and there's people who are like so far away. You're not even near the stadium. You're like in a watchtower watching everyone else and then hating everyone getting married, right? Like that's you're like, fuck that guy, fuck that girl, fuck that guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with that. But it takes a choice. I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned over the years, and especially in my own journey with love, is that love, like, we're taught like in movies, right? Michelle, you just like at a grocery store and then he bumps into you, you look like a mess, but he thinks it's endearing. And then he like takes you to meet his parents and he ends up being a prince, right? Like that's like what we
Yeah.
see in movies. And it so doesn't happen like that, y'all. Like, if you know one person that happened to,
We
they're
have
the
been
they're the
brainwashed to
0.01% who've
believe
been
this
great.
shit. I know that I was definitely on this Cinderella bullshit, thinking he was gonna come in a white horse with blue eyes and black hair. Forget about
And
it.
he's gonna be rich, you know. He's gonna be rich, and he's gonna take me away from my
Took me
life.
away.
It's gonna
But
be
in
so good,
reality, so here's the thing, and I want us to like. There's so much to cover. Oh my
girl. Every time, you know me, girl.
Because I want us to touch on dating, right?
Yes,
But
please.
I also want us to touch about how once you start dating and you find someone that you're interested in, then you start fucking self-sabotaging
Oh yeah.
because you think just because you found the dude, the inner work stops. It's like, no, bitch. That's
Well,
when
the
the inner
thing,
work really
the
starts.
beginning, that is, everyone gets mad at me in my work for that reason. And I warn them, and then it happens, and then they still get mad. And they were like, this was crazy before I met the guy. Now I met the guy, and it has kicked up to a level of crazy I never imagined. And I'm like, welcome to love. Welcome to the
Right?
game. You're welcome. And it gets better. So, for all of you out there that you're like, that's what I'm avoiding, it absolutely gets better. It's like
Like
anything in your life.
I see people in the beginning of their dating phase like pull these like fucking temper tantrums. And listen, truth be told, I was one of them with my hubby. Like I put that mofo through hoops of fires. Like my little 3-year-old was like, "Oh yeah, you want to be with me? Well, climb that mountain, then climb that one, and then go to
Prove to me how much you
yeah."
love me.
And you know what? It
Hmm.
really messed us up. We needed to dive in and do a lot of inner work, and like I had to do a lot of healing for myself to create space for this man to also feel safe in the relationship.
Absolutely. And
Oh
and
god.
and women, I think because we're so, you know, and I don't know if it's like, oh no, I'm very clear it's the media and the way we're socialized. We are socialized to think that we're the very sensitive ones. We're the very, right, like we're easy to break. We're always getting our hearts broken. Guys are these, chauvinistic like players and blah 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 blah. That I think people really buy into this stuff, almost on like a, whether they really think they believe it or not, on a conscious level, we're walking around and we're just assuming that the person we're sitting across at dinner, that the guy who's ghosting us, who's not calling us, we're assuming that he's not going through his own inner like freak
Should I
out.
wait? Should
His,
I
oh
don't want
yeah,
to
should I
I don't
wait? Should
want
I
to
go?
sound
I
desperate.
like her, I
Yeah.
don't like her. Right. And it's so, I love, and in my work we do a lot, we deconstruct a lot of that bullshit because it's a lot of bullshit. It's like, no, this is like a human being. They literally are going through the same feelings you're going through. Sometimes they're not, right? Sometimes they're not feeling anything, but because of your own patterns and whatever, you're creating this whole thing. But I love what you said around the proving to me, in dating, what did I want to say? Because it was like what you said was so good. Throwing the tantrum, wanting it now. There's this entitlement sometimes, right? When we do the work, this is what happens. And this happens in a lot of things, not just in love, not just in, hi, Lorene, not just in love, not just in money, not just in, that we think, well, I signed up for the thing. I worked with the, with the coach, or I did the program. Shouldn't it be here by now? I know all the shit. Shouldn't it be happening now? And I'm like, are you high? Like, we're not in charge of that, first of all. I'm like, we're not in charge of that. There is a grand divine plan you got to like surrender to. One, I was like, but two, that entitlement is one of your pieces, and that entitlement will show up in your, so I always say every single discomfort, every single part of the journey, like the moment, I tell women this all the time, the moment you say yes to working with me, and it doesn't have to be me, it can be anything, it can be a program, a coach, whatever. The moment you say yes and put your ass on the line and take the risk, whether it's getting into the intimate relationship with a coach, whether it's giving them your credit card number that you're like, oh my God, I've never paid this much money, but this matters to me, so I'm doing it. Whatever you're doing that puts your ass on the line. So if your blood pressure isn't going up a little bit, it's probably not big enough. You got to go bigger. Right. If your blood pressure is not going up a little bit, then you probably got to go bigger. But that moment, from that moment on, and truly before, but from that moment on, everything that happens, everything you acknowledge, everything you feel, everything you experience is teachable, and it's all part of the big plan. So I find this, because not everyone does that, Michelle. That's what's so amazing. Yeah. Not everyone has that entitlement piece that comes up. But if you're feeling entitled when you're dating, I guarantee you're going to feel that entitlement when you're in a relationship. Absolutely. And your person's probably not going to fuck with it. They're going to be like, since when did I become your butler? Right? Since when did I become your butler? Right? Since when did I become your, like, they are a full universe. I say this all the time. Every human being is a full universe. They are a full universe. And the successful relationships are the ones where you have enough awareness, right, and consciousness to understand when ego is like trying to essentially dominate someone's universe, yeah. And you can like pull back and really communicate and invite them and say, okay, this is what's going on in my universe. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm making up. This is what I see you doing. This is what I'm making up about it. This is what I'm thinking. Like, me and my fiance just said, oh my God, we just started planning our wedding, guys. So we've been engaged for 3 years. We've been engaged for 2.5 years. The only reason, and we say all the time, like, oh, girl, all the time we say, like, can we just go get married today? Like, we want to be married. But weddings, I'm like, oh my God, I don't give a fuck about weddings. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care. So, right, I'm just like, well, what the fuck? So we've gone 2.5 years. We haven't gotten married yet. And we're just like, okay, we picked the date. We did the whole thing, whatever. We're like, clear. Of course, this weekend, as soon as we start planning, we got into a fight literally within 5 minutes, y'all. Within 5 fucking minutes. That fight lasted 6 mind-numbing hours. It was like 6, right? Just so you know, right? We've been together 6+ years. I'm a fucking love coach and like communication expert. And I'm like 6 hours in, I'm like, I want to fucking end myself.
This
like,
is
this
the
sucks,
real
right?
deal.
So real.
This is the real deal. Like, just because you're a love coach doesn't mean that you're like untouchable. This is it. You're doing the work.
Absolutely.
And you're growing and evolving, and so is he. So you're going to go through those growing pains. I want to touch on something that really sparked my curiosity, and I was like, I got to run this by Angelisa on that.
I love that.
Because I feel like we talked about it offline. But what do you feel about every woman trying to complete their father's story through their relationship?
Ooh, girl, that's juicy. Well, I think when you realize that's what you're doing, you have a responsibility to yourself and to your partner to unplug from the matrix. So what Michelle's talking about, for those of you that don't, we can kind of talk about it a little bit for anyone who maybe is doing that. Listen, and I was doing that for the longest. So your dynamic with your father, especially if you're a woman and you're a straight woman and you're dating, So you're looking for your male counterpart. You're looking for that divine masculine, person to create this unit with. The first divine masculine in our life is our father. It's the person who literally we came from, right? We were his seed. I was my father's seed at some point. And that's an incredibly powerful and delicate truth. Whether your father's in your life, not in your life, whether he was a kind dad, a great dad, an abusive dad, an alcoholic, a nutbag, whether he was shitty when you were 10, but then great when you were 30, there is a lot that was created in your story with your father. And what a lot of us do, and men do this with their mothers as well, right? Men do it with their mothers and with their fathers. Listen, we're all a hot fucking mess. But you trying to live out and almost close the loop, aka heal your relationship with your father through your relationship with your partner, extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. And here's the thing. So you know me, Michelle, I'm not black and white. I very rarely exist in black and white. I truly believe that your divine partner will absolutely support in closing that, supporting you in healing those feelings. How they're going to trigger all of those feelings. Almost always, your divine partner is going to trigger you quite often because your divine partner is there for you to grow. You chose each other and God chose them for you to support you in your journey. We didn't come here to be like fucking what's I'm thinking of a plant. I'm like, no, plants grow all day long. We didn't come here just to be sticks in the mud and not do anything. We came to grow. So your partner absolutely is going to trigger those things. It is not their responsibility to make up for the things you were lacking in your relationship with your parent. And that's where having the awareness and the consciousness can really make or break your relationship. Does that make sense, babe?
It's not their responsibility to do the healing. They're on this.
You're breaking up, my love bug. I mean, on my side, you are. Can you guys hear me? I think you're buffering on us, my lovey. Yes.
Better?
Thank you, Lorene. Oh, I think you're coming back. I can hear you. It's like cutting in and out with stuff from. We break Michelle every time.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
No?
You're back.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Better? All
You have
right.
returned. That was Freaky.
That always happens to us.
It does. Every time we break the internet. So I didn't hear anything you said. I don't know if you
Wait, I
caught
can hear
everything I
you.
said. Oh, now you're frozen again.
Froze. Is it? Let me know, guys, if you can hear me. Okay, I see you move. All right. So I joke with my hubby that he doesn't only press one trigger button, he plays the whole freaking keyboard. And in the moment, I just want to throw him out the window, and you know that. You know, I've been called. But anyway, my point is that it's necessary because the healing is my responsibility, and all of that. Grateful for those opportunities and path of, like you said in the beginning of the live, which is so important. I really want people to hear it. It's about making a pact to support your highest evolution, your highest becoming. It's not to enable who you're being right now and keep it all fluffy and comfy, because there's no growth in that. It's really about who you are becoming.
Absolutely. No, and I, I feel like we're breaking because your video and audio keeps going in and out a little bit. So I want to make sure. Can you guys hear us? Are we good? Are we? And thank you, Christopher. I think our one ranger
Hear
right
us.
now. You can hear me, babe? I'm
Yeah,
here?
I can
Okay.
hear you.
Um, yeah, I think you're good.
I can hear
Say
you.
banana pants.
Banana pants.
Ah, perfect. We're back on. Okay, great. Yeah, well, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. The journey is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. So think about your relationship should be like, and I really believe this, your relationship should be like the funnest you could ever. Like that's, and what are you getting? You're getting a PhD on yourself and like how far you can go, how far you can love, like how much more can you forgive, how much more can you, right, do over, start over, like rewind, whatever, like evolve. So yes, holding each other accountable to who you want to be. Then, oh, Michelle, I'm holding you accountable to who I want you to be.
Yeah.
That's a very different thing than, no, I'm holding you accountable to who you say you want to be. You me because I listen, right? If we're partners and we're in this together, then I know who you want to be. So I'm going to remind you when you forget, and I'm going to have the connection, and I'm going to cultivate the intimacy to know how to best communicate that with you. So here's the thing, guys. And we're all guilty of it, right? So please hear me, because like listen, I have my moments. If you have a partner who you know has something around, being talked to harshly, or maybe has a history of verbal abuse, or that like cursing them out is unacceptable to them, and really they've stopped functioning, then if you want to motivate them, that wouldn't be the way to do it, right? Like that wouldn't be the way to give them the feedback. And so this is where evolving yourself for the good of the relationship, you need to know, this is where like, right, who do I get to be and need to be for the betterment of this person? Even if I'm frustrated, even if I'm angry, even if I'm triggered, right? Even if I'm in my own shit, I guarantee you. So my love language is physical, right? My love language is physical. My partner, my fiance, his love language is words of affirmation. Me, words of affirmation don't do a ton for me because I grew up with a lot of it. I have a lot of positive verbal affirmation in my life. My friends, my family, everyone's very like verbally loving with me, but I didn't grow up with a lot of physical affection. So when he gets angry, for example, he gets very cold. And physically, it's like he's like away. So he will, y'all, hear me. He physically, I will go in for a hug and he will physically like Heinzman me. He will like be like, nope. Like he will literally just be like, nope. And I'm like, and for me, that feels like he just shot me in the chest, right? Like for me, I'm like, you just like all the theatrics come out. All the theatrics. For him, when I'm angry, I like shut down, and if you press, I will verbally explode, and I can be a fucking monster. Like I can be, really, it's like not, like, right? Me at my very worst is just verbal demolishment. It's not a good thing. Have we had those moments? Of course. We've both seen each other at our very worst. But I found that for me, because I'm thinking a good old fashioned fuck you, like, okay, now we made up, get over it. I'm thinking like that's not a big deal. To
Right.
him, it's like I killed his dog. And we learned that very early on in our relationship. So guess what I had to do, y'all? I had to really learn, one, where do these like verbal eruptions, where are they coming from? I had to deal with that. Second of all, I had to learn to bite my fucking tongue, right? Because my man's a grown ass fucking man. And he's like, that's unacceptable. You do that again, I'm fucking out. And I was like, God, that's so hot. I love it. Okay, I have to grow, right? I have to fucking grow. And vice versa, right? Same thing. I'm like, listen, you gotta keep giving me hugs and kisses. I don't give a fuck how mad you are. I mean, not fuck. I don't give a flying fart. Right? We figure it out. And here's how you know you love someone. People always say, how do I know he's the one? How do I know she's the one? If you're willing to keep working, they're the one. So what does that mean? Is that you choose your one. I tell people this all the time, Michelle. We think someone's gonna come along that's gonna like make us all of a sudden be this perfect person, and they're gonna be right, and they're gonna be this perfect person. And I'm like, we're shifting from dating to relationships. This is real relationship shit.
Right.
Anyone who's in a relationship knows what we're talking about. That's not how it works. Because here's the thing, y'all. The first 3, 6 months, 1 year, if you're blessed, will be magical. You will lay down your life for this person. Oh, all of your shitty habits, you'll stop doing them, right? All of like the stupid stuff you do, you'll put it on the shelf. You'll hide all the crappy habits you have to make this person happy. And then you start going into the lull. You get comfortable, you get bored, and then you're like, oh, I don't think we have it anymore, and blah, blah, blah. No, because relationships are a choice. They're a choice. So you need to choose for this person and for yourself. And ultimately, I always tell people, I go, okay, can you picture yourself with someone else? Sometimes you don't even like the person you're with, but you're like, shit, I can't picture myself with someone else. Usually a clue, usually a clue for starters. Right? That's usually the first. Okay, you picture yourself kissing someone else, right? We go down the line. But truly, it's in this moment right now. Do you want to walk away?
I want to share something that
Yes, please.
my mother. So I was in this dance for like the first year. I was like, no, he's not the one. Okay, yeah, he's the one. No, he's not the one. Because I was literally putting this man through hoops of freaking fire, like one after the other, and he was just like running a fucking marathon. Poor guy, man. But hey, he got me. The whole point is, my mother asked a question, and she said, if you saw him with someone else, would it bother you? And that question was like, oh yeah. She's like,
That's so good.
she was like, stop fucking playing around. And I was like, all right.
That is well, you know why that's so good, mom. Mom got them gems because it's primal. Because it's primal. That's like that primal, like, no, that's my person, right? Like he's mine. He's my hot mess. He's my pain in the ass. And it's funny your mom says that because like in the moments where we've been at the end of the road where I'm like, okay, are we breaking up? Is this it? Is it like, is it too much? Are we just like, am I done? That's often what I think of, Michelle. It's so funny that your mom's like, because I'm like, if I saw him with someone else, what would I think? And I would be like, I'd be mad she's getting all that good loving, right?
And truth be
Like
told,
I literally,
truth be
that's what I
told,
think.
we did break up for a couple months, and he needed to explore, what was out there to really come into appreciation of who I was. So it
Absolutely.
was so perfect for both of us to actually choose and step in and buckle up and choose the relationship, like you said. I think it's so powerful. I want us to backtrack though, because
I know. I'm girl. We have, and I love. Chrissy said, "Okay, 14 months in, lol. I don't ever want to lose the magicalness. I choose the
yeah,
constant. I love." And Chrissy's one of my goddesses, y'all. So she's got the tools. Chrissy's been through the ringer, so she already knows. I love it, Chrissy. Absolutely. Listen, and the magic is in all of that, right? Sometimes you're gonna have a high, and it's all about the two people, right? Sometimes you're gonna like fight like cats and dogs, but you're growing and learning, and the fights change you. And listen, if that's what you like, some people are really good in constant flux. Listen, there's there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's not like abuse, right? As long as you're not numbing yourself. But there's people who that's part of the like their love language is arguing and battling. There's nothing wrong with that if both of you are like growing and enjoying the journey and it's fun for you. Me and my guy, we go through like literally back and forth incredible tenderness and sweetness where if you saw us we literally would make people puke, and then like the other side it's like bickering and laughing at each other and picking at one another, like we, and it's so much fun. And then of
I love
course
that you're
in
so
those moments there's like the blowouts over here,
yeah.
and then just like the taking care of each other on this
Cycles.
side. But
The
it's
cycle.
truly every relationship has its own dynamic, and it's about discovering what's the dynamic between you and your person. What do you want it to be? How on target are you? But also giving yourselves room to breathe when things don't feel good. That's something I had to learn very early on because I thought I thought love meant feeling good all the time. I thought he's gonna make me happy 24/7. I was like, I don't want to be like my parents. My mom went through so much grief. I want the perfect relationship. And it's like, yeah, no, that's not how it works. So it's learning also to cultivate that security within yourself so that when things are not good, you let them breathe. It's getting in touch with that fear of abandonment that a lot of us have, that fear of like not
Which
being
was
good
my thing.
enough.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, right? Not being good enough. Oh, I made him unhappy, so he's gonna leave me, and like then be acting like a crazy person. All those things that we have.
Yep.
But
And your
yeah.
ego will straight up do whatever it takes to prove your self worth conversations
Oh,
in
totally.
whatever way. So it's going to manifest it so that you face it. And this is not that person, it's you doing the whole thing, the whole shebang. But I want us to backtrack, babe.
Yes, please.
So we were talking about cultivating that inner presence. And the one thing that you said was like the avoidance, right? And you said you had like four of them. So let's dive into
Yeah,
those.
so I was talking about some presence killers. One that's a big presence killer, and I was thinking more from the, and it's funny, I was thinking from the dating realm, but now that we talked about relationships, it's the same fucking thing. There is no difference. Trying to be liked, trying to be liked, people pleasing is a huge presence killer. So, setting the scene, right? We're at a restaurant. It's me. I think I look good. You look good. We're getting to know each other. We maybe have some wine. We're ordering the good stuff, whatever. We're talking. But in my mind, I am in this because it's how I operate, right? Very rarely how we operate in our intimate relationships are we different in other places? No, in relationships are relationships, y'all. So if you think that you're very like vulnerable and loving and touchy feely with your friends, but you're not with men, no, like it's they're all.
Same.
If you're not intimate in dating, I guarantee you're not intimate in your friendships. I promise you. I've been there. I thought I was the most like vulnerable, open, loving friend, but I just didn't know how to date. No, it was bullshit. It was bullshit. I was closed, I was withholding, not vulnerable, all that stuff, right? So you want to check in. Trying to be a people pleaser, trying to be liked is a huge problem for so many of us when we date. It's why most of us don't do it. So you're at a date, you're with someone, and everything they're saying, you're like, yes.
I love that. I
That's
love that.
great. I love he says some like stank shit, and like the real you is like, I don't agree with that at all, or I wonder what he meant by that, or that's kind of offensive, or I disagree with him. But instead of saying those things, you go, that's so interesting. So tell me about your mom, right? Like, and we just keep it moving. So that's a huge presence killer. The
What about
overactive.
the opposite, babe? What about the opposite of like the creating the dissonance on
I
like
love
in
that. So
public.
that's number two.
Oh,
I love that. Number two, trying to dominate. Trying to dominate. Trying, like that, creating the power struggle. So
in
anything they
public is a
say,
no-no.
oh, huge, guys. Trying, that's a presence killer number two, trying to dominate, trying to control. You're creating a power struggle and a power dynamic in your intimate conversations and relationships. This is really big because a lot of people do it and it's very unconscious. So
Yes.
anything I say, you disagree. Anything I say, you want to agitate, right? Even if it's not real, even if it's not
And
authentic.
then like
It's
you'll
like
stay
a,
with your face fixed
yeah,
and
yeah,
like you
it's
want everybody
everything's
to
very
notice and you're just like, come
to-
on, man.
totally. It's like weird flex, but okay, right? It's like, and that's not presence killer number two, trying to dominate, trying to overpower, um, and really it comes down to trying to control. It's creating oftentimes, and it's so funny because I used to be, I'm what I call a recovering controller, my friends, and in a lot of, and in my relationships, it didn't, no, I probably did. I'm like, people just kind of like, I assume they enjoyed it because no one called me out on that shit very often. But in relationships, there was a lot of control dynamics. Guess what that looked like? And there's a reason for that, right? I had a lot of defenses growing up. I put them up for a lot of reasons. But the way that looked like for me is I would pick on people, but almost like in like a jabby kind of way, and I would do it with humor. I would mask it with humor, but it was really like me being a fucking bitch. Like I was being an asshole. And I
I
did this
had
in a
no poker
lot.
face.
Oh, in a lot of relationships, right? So I would like I would agitate and instigate. And if I found people who were like extra like doe-eyed and like whatever, oh, the like I would go even harder because I would be like, you gotta toughen up, you know? And I like somehow made that my mission with you. This is when I was a teenager, you guys. So I was like really rough around the edges in that way, and it was totally about controlling. Because why would someone want to overpower and control? Right? Because you don't feel safe. So it's very interesting that the people who control the most, and if you're one of those people, welcome to the club. I'm right there with you. If you're one of those people that tends to be your comfort zone, is controlling the conversations, controlling the environment, controlling the people around you. There is truly a part of you that feels unsafe, that doesn't think you can be vulnerable with others, who doesn't think you can allow yourself to not know. That goes along with being a know-it-all, right, Michelle? Like that goes along with like, no, I have all the answers. You don't know what you're talking about. Not fun. One, you're not fun to be around. Two, very hard to build a loving, connected relationship with someone like that because they're never getting what I want to call the true you. Because here's the thing, the real you is a controller. That is actually really you, right? In those moments, that really is you. But the true you is the part of you underneath that is pure and unsullied, right? And like, and not dragged down with all of this baggage and old shit and all the reasons that you portray that. And what's funny about controllers is that we think our mask is really powerful. Like we think our mask is tight. No one knows how out of control we feel, right? In our heads and our feelings. No one can see how disconnected or lonely we are, but it's not true. I want my controllers to come really close to the camera. Everyone can fucking see how sad you are. Everyone. Everyone can see it, and they just want to hug you and play with you, but it's going to require you actually letting people in,
And
right?
it's not just about the sadness. I also really want to stress this. It's people around you do not feel like they have access to you.
I
And
love
for a
that.
man that you're attracting, it's important that they feel they have access to you, the real you.
I love
So
that.
when you are busy putting on these, and listen, controller, when I do not feel safe,
Right?
controller,
Come on, girl.
all girl. And I'm married to a controller too. He's more promoter though, thank God. But we,
Totes.
we, so many of the feedback that I would get, even from my clients, is like, there's a part of you that just feels guarded, Michelle. Like, I
Yeah.
can't ask my youth, the youth that I would train would be like, I can't reach you. Like, I feel like I can't grasp you.
Kids
And
will always keep it real.
yeah, and it's so important to, like, those feedbacks really had me check in, like, wait a minute, like, I I really get to lead with my heart open, not my head, not trying to control all the fucking circumstances and the people around me. And I was a horrible fucking boss and leadership coach and coordinator because I was all about the result. And a lot of times the relationship felt um, ostracized. I don't know if that's the word, but it was
Yeah,
impacted.
absolutely.
It was
Yeah.
impacted. So you're raising really amazing points.
Well, I think
Keep going.
you really nailed it, babe. At the end of the day, intimacy is about safety,
Yeah.
right? And what's safety? When we think about safety between two people, between two beings, between two universes, as I like to say, safety is about acceptance, right? Safety is about acceptance. Safety is about the so self-acceptance being one, right? So
Huge.
self-acceptance being part of it, that okay, this is what I think and what I feel, and I accept that this is what I think and what I feel. So I'm okay with sharing what I think and what I feel, because whether they receive it or not, it's still safe for me to feel it and think it.
And it wasn't until this is so huge, this is so good, Mama. It wasn't until I self accepted the shadows, right? So the I had a story that I was a bitch, right? And that my business partner was all the charming schmoozer. And that story really had me resist and judge a certain aspect of myself that kept me in controller mode because I was in complete non acceptance of myself, which would not have me accept others fully either, right? It's all a mirror
100%.
anyway. So what you're saying, self acceptance is key, and it's self acceptance of the things that you most judge about yourself. Really
100%.
embracing that. Yes, shadow work,
One,
like Lorene is saying.
yes,
Yes.
Lorene. No, absolutely. It's everything, and acceptance. I think my mentor, Robin, who started Momentum Education, she always used to say, and it was such a great distinction that has carried me all this time. There's a difference between tolerance and acceptance,
Mm.
right? Tolerance is like from ego. Like, I don't agree with you, or I don't accept what you're doing, but I'll tolerate it. It's like it's inherently full of judgment and like superiority and ego. It's like, right? It's like choosing from like your mind, right? It's like, well, fine. Where acceptance is inherently full of love, inherently full of love, right? So if intimacy is about safety and safety is about acceptance, then acceptance is about love, then intimacy is about love. But you see how those levels have to be there. And my favorite thing is to distinguish those things, because then we have access to them. When I tell someone, okay, well, intimacy is love, so be that. They don't well, what's the roadmap? How do I get to a place where I'm experiencing embodying love? I go, okay, great. Well, where do you not feel safe, right? So that's the question to ask. Where do you not feel safe? Where do you not feel safe within you? What are the thoughts and feelings you have that you don't find safe for you to be in? And like this is real shit for a lot of people, guys. Especially with like yes, like Lorena's saying, that's so important with social political issues. Tolerance is complete bullshit, absolutely. And it's like you get to be with yourself around, where inside of me do I not feel safe? That's the first. When you want to talk about self love and self acceptance, that's the first thing. Like for me, like I was telling you guys last year, it was in my sadness. I didn't feel safe in my sadness. Laureen, lover to Pisces, was working with Laureen, and she's the one who really gave me the tools to sit in my sadness and trust, right? And trust that I could feel safe within my own sadness, within my own mourning, within my own feeling of like I have nothing left, right? Because I was busy, 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 busy for 30 years, busy, 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 running from that sadness. So for all of us, it's different. So we talked about trying to be a people pleaser, right? Being a people pleaser will keep you from being present, present being connected, present being in discovery. I cannot be in you, Michelle, if I'm so deep in me. Do y'all hear that? I cannot
So
be
good.
in, I can't be in the person across from me. So Michelle's talking to me about her childhood. She's telling me about her life. She's telling me about her dreams and her goals. I can't be with her and listen to her and then support her and put into her. And that's where the reciprocity, bringing it full circle. I can't actually give to her if I don't know how to be present with her. Now everything she's saying, I'm in me, I'm in me. Okay, well I don't agree with her, so how do I tell her I don't agree with her? Oh, is she not gonna like me? Well, I remember that bitch when I was like 12 who like she stabbed me in the back. Right? And that's what we do. We're like in this trauma and drama. And Michelle's here just telling me about her dreams, telling me about her dreams. And I'm like, yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, so about me. And then we go back to me. And there's no real reciprocity. Because guess what, y'all?
No.
Just showing up is not reciprocity. Just being there is not giving.
You know,
Just being there is not giving.
I'm laughing because this is so good, and it'll tie in perfectly into what you said. You know, my husband and I have this practice that we choose to be interested in people, right? So we always are like asking questions. What are you up to? What's going on with you? You know, what it's awesome, right? And then at the same time, we come back and we're like joking. We're like, we're always interested, but then nobody fucking reciprocates and be like, what about you, JD? Or what about you, Michelle? And we straight up laugh because people hardly ever have that space where people are listening to them.
Yep,
And I think that's something that I pride myself in being such a great, active,
absolutely.
compassionate listener. And we joke about that because it's like people don't have that space. So when we show up, they're just like, pouring it
And
out,
that's why you
pouring it
get
out.
paid handsomely for what you do. Because here's the thing, y'all, and this is what we're talking like it's so great because like and this is what I would say, like love is just my lens, right? Because I just love relationships and love in general. But it's so much more than that, right? We're talking about like mastery. We're talking about mastering your soul, like how you show up on the planet to play with other people. Because what you're talking about, Michelle, is that you actually have done the work with yourself where you can turn off, shut down the systems, right? That are the ego, shut down the systems that are running, making up all kinds of stuff. Like, okay, yeah, you can keep, because in the front, I'm with Angelisa. I'm really listening to her. So not only am I hearing what she's saying, I'm hearing what she's not saying. I'm seeing what's underneath,
Yes.
right? I'm asking the deeper questions. I'm seeing what she skipped over, right? And that's why Michelle and I have been friends a year and a half, but our relationship is as deep and as intimate as any other relationship in my life, some of them 20 plus years, because you have done the work within you to truly be present with another person.
And
And
I really
here's
believe that's the biggest gift you can give people.
absolutely. And I was going to say, and we're not special. Like, and Michelle loves it. We're not special, guys. Michelle's not special. Like, Michelle is special, of course,
We've
but
had
not for
this
that.
debate offline, guys, where we're like, we're not special. Let's not specialize our gifts. Go ahead, sorry.
No, absolutely. We're not like Michelle. It's not a special thing. The fact that it's not a special thing. Do we have special gifts? Sure. But this is something you can learn. This is something that you practice. The reason we now do this for a living and get paid for it is because we've made it our mission and our practice, right? But it is an active thing that you do. And if you want to be a good lover, a good parent, a good friend, if you want to do life with other people, unless you're trying to live in a mountain by yourself in a cave, by all means, have at it. But if you really want life to be full of growth and exchange and learning something new, I think the best thing ever, and I love it, it literally turns me on, is when I'm with someone and I'm so present with them that they change my mind. Like I love that. And that happens all the time when I'm with Michelle, all the time, because it's like, oh, like I never thought of that way. Or, oh, yeah, like because I'm actually present, because I don't have any attachment to like holding on to whatever I believe to be what it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Like we're here to play. And here's the thing, my relationship is still spicy and alive and fun and true and pure because we bring that every day. Every day that we talk about our day, it's just like we joke and it's fun and we're like, well, maybe, and he'll be like, I'm mad about this. And I'm like, well, maybe she'd have been to this way. And then he's like, oh. I didn't think about that. You know what? I'm going to apologize to her tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's like, and there's this give and this take and this play. We're not so scared all the time. So, guys, that took time to get there. There's a process. Being present with someone is a process. The last one, Michelle, just so to support y'all who are working on your presence 2019, is trying to predict huge presence killer. I would actually say the number one presence killer. Trying to predict the future, being future minded. So I'm on a date with a guy and he says, I think I want to go to med school next year. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, if he goes to med school, then in 5 years, he'll still be in school. And then we won't be able to have our 3.5 kids. And then like we do this all, or he says, oh, I'm a manager at, Pizza Hut. And we're like, oh my God, he's always gonna be broke and like it's like
Right.
right? We do this all the time. We future trip. Huge presence killer.
Or we present fix, where we
Ooh, I
go
love
to
that. I love
their
that.
apartment and we think this is it and this is all they amount to be. And no, maybe that's why on a soul level you attract them. I know I've left every relationship way better than I found it.
Amen.
My first relationship, he didn't even have a cell phone or a car.
Wow. That's
Mofo
awesome.
had a cell phone and a car and his own apartment. But that's why
I love
we
that.
attract who we attract and vice versa. They attract us in their lives to be that activator, to be that fertilizer. So you get to have that long-term vision, but do not hold your predictions fixed
I
and
love
don't
that.
hold the present fixed. We are so over our time, but as usual, it feels
I
like
love it.
15 minutes.
I
Maybe.
know, it really does. It really does.
I
This was so good.
Is
So
there
good.
one last thing that you want to say to our audience before I ask you my last question that I ask every speaker?
Um, I think, presence is something that can be cultivated, y'all. So, in the feminine essence and the feminine energy work that I do, the present moment is really the domain of your feminine energy and your feminine essence. And the very best way to start practicing presence is in your body. It's in your body, it's embodying it. And we have some support. God gave us some support in order to get present. And that support came with our senses. So your eyes, your touch, your sense of smell, your hearing are all tools you can use to become present. Present meaning getting out of your thoughts, getting out of your head, getting out of your consciousness, and really dropping into your body, really dropping into your body. So I always tell people, like, some of my favorite tricks, if you will, for when you're dating, if you're someone who's an anxious dater, if you get anxiety, if you start feeling nervous, is to focus on your senses, right? So focus on the amazing smells coming from the restaurant, right? Focus on how cool the cup feels in your hand, right? And this will, like, if you're wearing a silk dress, you can like touch the silk on your thigh and like feel and focus on that. You're going to see what happens is that you stop thinking and you start feeling and embodying, and you're going to notice your date is going to do this. Ah, I wonder what's going on over there. She's enjoying herself, right? It will change the way that you date. It will change the way that you are in relationship. Learning to be truly present for the people in your life will make you your very own love guru. And then you will see that people will start opening up to you about all kinds of things. They will feel safe around you for all kinds of things. And not only that, you will learn to cultivate that safety within yourself, so then you can give it to others and have true reciprocity in relationships instead of just you always taking because you think you're so fabulous.
Yes. So this
Been there.
conversation has been so juicy and so many nuggets being dropped, and I can't thank you enough, babe. My last question that I ask all my speakers: what are your top 2 to 3 tips on creating an epic year?
2 to 3 tips on creating an epic year. One, do not overcrowd your goals. So that's, I think, would be my first one. Do not overcrowd your goals. I think as human beings, especially if you're on this, live, you are probably a go-getter. You are someone who's shooting for more and to create more, to be more. And oftentimes we are like lucky if one really powerful goal we set in January is completed by December, right? So for me, I know I have learned choose the top 2 to 3 things that if you just focused on those and rocked it this year consistently would completely change your life. So don't overcrowd your goals. Really go for the ones that really, really, really matter to you. I think, which I would think would be my second tip. Make your goals the things that matter to you, not the things that matter to other people. So don't make your goal, get married if your mom has been, nagging you about getting married for 10 years, if that's not what you care about. If you don't care about that, then don't do that. If you don't care about, starting a business, don't do that. So really take the time to figure out what you really, really, really want that would literally change your life this time next year if you completed it, and choose those things. And 3, if it's not fun, don't fucking do it. If it's not fun, don't do it. If it's not fun, don't do it. Not saying it can't be challenging, not saying it can't stretch you. Actually, if it's not challenging or stretching you, then it's probably not a worthwhile goal anyway, and you might as well just put it into your daily routine. But look for ways to make the stretch fun every single time. You know me, I'm a big proponent of fun. I'm a big proponent of joy, sometimes to my detriment. But if I'm wrong, I don't want to be right, Michelle. Because honestly, life is heavy and there's a lot going on out there, and there's plenty of things that we could be worrying about any moment and thinking about any moment. The world is a nutty place right now. So if you're going to choose things, choose from your highest joy, your highest passion, and the things that really, really matter to you. And I think there's no way that your 2019 won't be epic if you choose from that place.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Mama,
You're
for
so welcome. Thank you for having me.
jamming with us, for sharing all your love and wisdom. It's always fireworks when we're on, and it's just so. I mean, I'm selfish because we're both Dominicans, so there's affinity there. But I love who you are in the world and who you are in my life, and I'm so grateful to know you.
Absolutely ditto and mutual. You're incredible. All of these, I mean, the fact that you put this together, y'all, a lot of people don't know how much work goes into coordinating something like this. So you are a fucking rock star, Michelle. Thank you for continuing to give to us every single year. And like, this is the best way to kick off the year. I can't wait for creating 2020 when we talk about all the amazing things we did this year. So, and I hope to see all of you that are watching us. Hope to see you a year from now on our next time, and sharing all the things that this live, have shift for you. So let's do it, y'all.
Let's do it. Let's do it. And I will be back on in about 30 to at 12:20 with the Woo Collective, Lorene Malley and Shakisha Reynolds.
Oh, y'all don't want to miss that.
Favorite mystic teacher, so you do not.
Y'all don't want to miss it. Lorene and Shakisha are the bomb. I owe them so much. So absolutely, I love you, Mama. Thank you so much.
You too, baby.
Create 2019, y'all. Create all the love and intimacy you could ever imagine.
Yes.
And I'm
please
here.
Follow
if you
her.
need
I'm gonna
anything.
put the links in the comments, and we're gonna put the link to one of her freebies on her site. Top 33 love blocks and limiting beliefs, and the quiz, what's your feminine attraction superpower? So I'm excited to share that with them. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon.
Mwah. Love you.
Bye.
Bye, Mama.